Hey there! So a couple of videos ago, I talked about why moving on in a story is important, and why it can help make it better. Inside the video, I used Stranger Things as a reference, and talked about how Stranger Things failed to grow over the course of its 3 seasons. I offhandedly mentioned that I could make a whole video elaborating on that, so I did. Although if you didn't see the previous video, I highly recommend you go check it out. I'm fairly proud of it, and I want to keep trying to push positive messages out there, but in the meantime, we gotta talk about Stranger Things. Just a little disclaimer, I did want to mention that I'll be going over some pretty heavy spoilers for Stranger Things going all the way up into season 3, so just keep a heads up. So to give a bit of context, I watched Stranger Things maybe half a year ago. I sat down with a couple of my friends and watched it. A lot of people had been asking me for years to check it out and were very adamant that I would enjoy it. And after watching the first season, I was amazed. Like, I don't think it was a masterpiece, but it was very, very good. The characters were likable, the writing was good, the pacing was amazing, the way the mystery slowly cultivated from 3 different angles and slowly watching each set of characters slowly crawl to the crescendo of the finale, truly great entertainment. So with that, I was excited to hop into the next couple seasons. So, we all sat back down to watch season 2 of Stranger Things. Now, right off the bat, I felt like it actually started pretty strong. We are finally gonna get to see more of Will, who was missing all of season 1. Everyone's slightly older and starting to change, and they introduce a few new characters to keep things fresh. I liked where it was all going. So, right off the bat, we're introduced to these nightmares Will is having, these almost PTSD flashbacks. I really liked them visually, and it started to introduce the next element or bad guy for this chapter. As the nightmares or flashbacks continue to haunt Will, he starts to exhibit some strange symptoms, so Joyce pushes the doctors to figure out the cause, and they are extremely dismissive. I found this part strange because I believe the doctor was special assigned to Will because of his unique experiences, but I don't know, maybe there's just more government conspiracy. It's fine, honestly, but things start to escalate and start to get weird, so at some point, Joyce tries to get Hopper around on her side. You know, the person who Solo Rambo discovered the conspiracy, went on a hype-ass batshit crazy manhunt for the truth. You know, that guy. And he was dismissive too. It was officially at this point that I started smelling something fishy, because in season 1, sure, no one even knew the supernatural stuff existed, and to expect them to start believing in a huge leap of faith, but Hopper saw that shit. He was in it. He found the truth, and it would have been fine if Hopper was reluctant, but the fact that he had to get Hopper to believe in it again, just like in season 1, it was strange. And even though I didn't notice it at first, I started seeing other things about season 2 that felt awfully familiar, like how Joyce was the only one to believe Will was sick and was shunted into looking crazy by all her peers and colleagues. It was honestly just a lot of tiny things that made me feel like we should have probably moved past this problem. Why is it so hard to invest all these different people who have seen and interacted with the supernatural phenomenon? I mean, shouldn't it be really easy to get them on the bandwagon again? Maybe if it was they were scared to interface with it, or they wanted to leave it to experts or other people, but it was more like everything just reset. Despite these strange feelings, I still enjoyed it. I think they leaned a bit into fan service territory, and the jokes got a bit hammier, but overall it was still good. But to sum up, the ending was cool, I guess, and there was a couple little nitpicks that really bothered me. One that really got to me is that they showed someone shooting one of these demi-dogs, whatever you want to call them, earlier, and it had no effect. And so later on, we see all these professionally trained secret ops security guards with submachine guns, and they still couldn't kill a single one. And yet Hopper just rides up with a shotgun and just blows them all away. It's fine, whatever, I guess. But this did leave me on my guard for season 3. So it's the same thing as last time. It took a couple weeks, but me and my friend sat down for the latest season of Stranger Things, and I was a bit more skeptical, but I wanted to hold out hope. After all, they did deliver an amazing first season, and it could always happen again. But it didn't. In fact, even though I enjoyed parts of Season 3, it was actually Season 3 that made me realize I didn't really enjoy Season 2 all that much. Because just like in Season 2, it seemed like the story wasn't growing and wasn't changing based on what everyone experienced. It felt like the story kept revisiting old story beats and kept using old formulas in new settings and conversations. Once again, just like in Season 1 and 2, there was something that Joyce was onto that made her look all crazy, and no one believed her. And once again, Hopper just refused to join the case on the ground floor, and had to be convinced again to aid the other characters in the mystery. They had to get their D&D reference in there, oh don't forget that. And oh man, let's not forget to split all the characters into neat little groups and have them all come together in the last moment. I'm not trying to say it was all bad. There was some really good parts still, and I would be lying if I said I didn't have fun sitting around with my friends watching it. But after seeing the same problem for a second season, I finally knew what was happening. The fact of the matter is that I truly believe they had a good story, but I think they only had one good story, because Season 1 was well paced, well articulated, had good direction, and everything tied together nicely, and then ended nicely. It was overall just a very nice package that was wholesome and complete. But as the seasons went on, it became more and more apparent that Season 2 and 3 were trying to capitalize on the strength and the formula of Season 1, which, while still having some very strong moments, made the overall package feel lackluster and provide a feeling of stagnation. The characters didn't develop, they repeated. They didn't become better characters, they became caricatures. They even started throwing in self-referential jokes, which in my opinion is always a bad sign. I know they have a Season 4 coming out soon, and I'll most likely watch it, but I just really hope that they mix this one up. It's always scary as a writer, but I feel like they have to take a step away from their previous successes and try not to build on them. They should just try to make their future seasons their own thing that has their own strengths and different weaknesses. Regardless, I still think it's a good show, and I would recommend it to people. But honestly, more just Season 1. You don't really need the other two. Alrighty everyone, that does it for this video. I thought I'd try to go for a slightly shorter one this time, and hopefully I'll be making more in this style. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button. And if you want to see where the inspiration of this video came from, then click here and learn how to not make the same mistakes Stranger Things did. Otherwise, I hope you have the good rest of your day, and until next time, see you later, dreamers.